Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited that you're here. My name is Shelby Plattner. I am a sophomore in materials science and engineering from Frederick, Maryland. If anyone's from Maryland, shout out. I lived in Galapagos in Hoge Hall my freshman year. Great experience. Would love to talk more about that as we go on. But yes, I'm a part of the Dean's team, which is in the SEED office, which is the Center for the Enhancement of Engineering Diversity at Virginia Tech. It's a big office, and we have lots of different initiatives and programs. Hypatia Galileo, aka Galapagos, is one of those. Dean's team is another part of that. But yeah, I'm basically here to answer any questions you guys have, and I'm so excited to talk more with you. So this is Bemnit Mola, and he is going to take it away with the inVenTs studio.
Yes, hello. And before we get started, I guess I'll give a quick spiel about myself. I'm Bemna Mola. I am a second year grad student at Virginia Tech studying mechanical engineering. And I'm actually going to be finishing up my master's this summer, enrolling into my PhD. I've done my undergrad here at Virginia Tech as well, also in mechanical engineering. Decided to kind of just roll through and further my education. Um, just like Shelby, I have lived in the Galapagos community a long time ago, right? 2014, 2015. I had a great time. I actually kind of owe my success academically and professionally to this community, and to Seed overall. They put a lot into their students, which you kind of will see in this presentation. They invest in making sure you have the right resources, the right personnel to kind of grow and learn and navigate through your undergrad years at Virginia Tech. And if you do decide, this is kind of long term, but if you do decide to continue your education at Virginia Tech for a master's or PhD, the Seed office also kind of invests in their grad students as well. So overall, great department, great office. I love mechanical. No complaints about Virginia Tech. Um, so yeah, I guess we can get started. I'm actually we have a team of GAs that work in the seat office. Um, as I kind of mentioned, it's a very as Shelby kind of mentioned, it's a very diverse and large group of individuals that work in the seat office. We have about, depending on what year it is, ranging from 7 to 15 grad students that work in the seat office. It's a very diverse group. We're all different. We come from different backgrounds, different cultures, all different majors too. I think I'm the only mechanical. We have like two computer science, one aerospace, one biomedical. It's a very diverse group. Um, and we all work together to just help the community and help the younger students kind of navigate, especially their freshman year, but also in general navigate their 4 years. So my responsibility with the seat office is specifically to run the invent studio in Hoge Hall, which is on the second floor. We can kind of just go into the presentation. So Hoge Hall has a makerspace, which is the invent studio. We have lots of equipment. Some of the things listed here, you'll see we have hand tools, power machine. That should say power tool. Sorry about that. We have a soldering station, two laser cutters, a couple of CNC. You can kind of see it in the image where my mouse is. We have two of them. These are two of the more larger ones. We actually have smaller 3-axis CNCs, but I wouldn't consider them CNCs because they can't do as much. But with these machines, you can definitely process some aluminum and different hard plastics. We have a desktop injection molder kind of showcased right here. And then we have several FDM printers, just the standard. You can actually see it in the corner here. That's one of them that has soluble supports. So if you wanted, to print some complex geometries that you wouldn't necessarily want to purchase, we could definitely take care of some of those needs. Dr. Watford, who's the director of all of this, has been putting this little makerspace together for several years now. And every year we just add new equipment. The CNC and the injection molders are things that were just added this semester. I think the CNCs came in around February. The injection molder came last semester, but in December, So, students had pretty much left by that point. Um, but this is a space for students to come do personal projects or class projects. I know when you do start your engineering career at Virginia Tech, your freshman year, you'll take 12, 15, and 12, 16, which are the foundations of engineering courses. There you'll get, for both classes, a semester long project. And this space is solely dedicated to Galapagos students to be able to work on those projects. You do have on-campus resources where you can go and work and do these projects, and they have a very similar setup to the setup you see here for the Hoge Hall. Sorry, excuse me, for the Hoge Hall makerspace. But the only issue there is you're competing with the entire freshman class of engineering. Whereas if you come to this space, is 100% dedicated just to the students of Galapagos. So if you don't want to have to go compete and sign up for restricted time slots at these on-campus locations, you can bring your team here, which usually ranges from 3 to 7 team members, and do your projects in here. And if you have your own personal projects, you're also more than welcome to come down here and do those. We have a ton of material, so you don't have to buy, for the most part, material to do some of these projects. Of course, there is a limit on that. So the bigger you go, chances are you'll kind of have to start picking up your own material and bringing that to the lab. Um, but in terms of raw material, we have aluminum, we have hard plastics that you can CNC, we have wood. So behind the CNCs, there's a wood shop area. We have a bunch of different tools that you can cut and shape and mold your wood to whatever structure or shape you want it to. So we have plenty of wood for that. 3D printer, we cover all the material for that. So as long as you can design it, we can probably print it. Um, Laser cutter tool or laser cutter material. Usually we have a 1/4 inch and less pieces of wood that you can cut things out of. We have acrylic. Um, we have cardboard. So if you're quickly trying to prototype something, um, you can definitely come do that. So that's just some of the equipment, or not some, we all the equipment that we have. And we actually have a reserve closet with a bunch of other things as well. If you needed drills, hammers, table saw, mm, a lot of things. I can't name them off the top of my head right now. And then we do have some pretty cool toys. We have a 3D scanner. So if you want to sit down, people think that operating a 3D scanner is pretty simple, but from experience, I can tell you guys you'll need a lot of time to sit down and really scan something to get an object. So if you want to fool around with that, you're more than welcome to. And then we have VR systems. So if you want to come, kind of get a touch or a feel for the VR world, we have a couple of headsets for that you can kind of throw on and navigate through. So again, lots of equipment. These are just some of the sample projects that people have done. I'll just go from left to right. This is actually one of the molds that we're making right now currently for injection molding. Um, I guess to plug my graduate research, one of the things I do here at Virginia Tech is work with Carillion Clinic to kind of manufacture mass components for COVID-19 response workers, first response workers. And right now, we're 3D printing it in my lab using a powder-based additive manufacturing technique. But that's in the long term, it's not cost effective. And the best way to do this is to go with the traditional injection molding. And one of the projects I've brought back to the community and have gotten some of the freshmen interested in is how can we design a mold for this? Instead of having our lab 3D printing it, can we make a mold that'll prototype the first iteration of this piece that we're trying to make for Carillion Clinic? Uh, so one of the students actually started designing this. He's about halfway done. We put it in the CNC. I ran him through the steps of how to toolpath and everything, and that's what you see so far. And I guess moving to the right, this is an Arduino that one of the students kind of just programmed for fun, not related to a class, not related to any design team they're part of. They just had extra time. They saw all the materials that we had and was like, all right, I'll just come play around and kind of build my own casing for this Arduino that I need for some of the other projects that they wanted to do. And then in the top right is another project. This was actually something I wasn't even aware of. A student came in, checked around, saw what we had, and he went and bought some glasses for Christmas, and wanted to etch his family members, not initial, just the first letter of their first name. Um, and our laser cutters actually have the ability to etch on glass on a rotating surface, which I did not know about. And I've been here for quite some time. So he came in, looked around, realized we have more capabilities than we sometimes advertise. And he kind of did the groundwork, and it's now open actually to the entire community. If you have glass or any cylindrical object that you want to etch, we can take care of that. Um, so yeah, just some sample projects that students are working on. And I guess to excite you guys, for the ones that have been admitted next year, and for the parents as well, I guess as well. Um, Next year we'll actually be introducing a new series of modules with the Invent Studio. Um, to take it to the next level in order to teach some of the students different engineering skills that they wouldn't get in their freshman classes. Or actually, having gone through the entire Virginia Tech curriculum, the modules we're introducing, they won't be able to get anywhere else unless they're taking it upon themselves to go look for these learning experiences. One example will be actually based off this injection molding piece that you see here. One of the modules will be R&D prototyping. This is actually something I have done through different internships and co-ops. So I'm not an expert, but I like to believe I have the skills necessary to kind of teach and lead the next generation. So we're introducing these modules where we'll run them through industry style projects. In terms of prototyping, they'll kind of introduce them to all the different engineering disciplines available at Virginia Tech. And the aim for this is two major things. One, for them to learn new engineering skills. I guess speaking to the students directly who are watching, this is meant to teach you new engineering skills, right? You're competing with thousands of other engineers at Virginia Tech trying to get similar jobs, especially freshman year when you all come in kind of blind and don't have that experience. If you take the time if you take the time to be a part of these modules, um, you'll gain skills that you can put on your resume that'll basically put you a leg up over the competition. So that's one thing to boost your resume and teach you new skills. The second part is at the end of your freshman year, you'll have to declare your major for where you want to go. When you come into Virginia Tech, you'll be general engineering. You'll take all the same classes as all your peers. And then sophomore year is when you start diverging into your different disciplines. Uh, so all these modules are meant to kind of introduce you to the different work styles and projects that you would partake in, let's say mechanical, ISC, uh, aerospace, material science. There's a lot of the way the modules are structured, computer science even. The way these modules are structured is to give you a little, you know, taste of these majors. So when you do have to decide, you're not blindly deciding, hey, I want to do mechanical or I want to do computer science. I know a lot of people get to that fork in the road and realize I don't know what major I want to dive into. So they just do the most broad one, which happens to be mechanical, and then halfway through they realize I don't want to do this, and then they'll switch their major. So this is uh, the hopes of this is to avoid that and then be confident in the decisions you want to make. I think someone asked a question, so this is actually a perfect segue to questions. um, and then we can start taking some questions. Are these modules a class that no, completely up to you to decide if you want to take them or not. Completely voluntary. Yeah, they're up to you to decide if you want to take it. If you do live in the Galapagos community, you will have to. There's some requirements that you have to fulfill. So if you partake in these modules, they'll actually cover some of those requirements. So uh, it's a win-win situation. You're not wasting your time. You'll fulfill your Galapagos requirement and you get a new set of skills. So um, hopefully that answered your question. Can you live in a different building and still participate? At the current moment, I'm gonna say no. We're still prototyping these modules. If you want to participate in the studio, just in general, kind of use it as a space. That's not something that Dr. Watford's open to. This is reserved for people who live in the community. So if you're interested in this, kind of start looking into whether you want to live in Hoge Hall or not. Hopefully that answered your question, Sunjum. Fern, how long does it take to get certified on the different machines? Not too long, actually. Laser cutting, you can get certified in 20, maybe 30 minutes. 3D printing, you don't need to get certified. We take care of that for you guys. Soldering, if you've soldered in high school, it's not going to be any different. If you haven't, it's about 15 to 20 minutes. Um, CNC is the longest one, and that's you'll have to go through the module for that. That'll be about 4 to 5 different. For now, we'll just call them lectures. So if you attend that one module, which comprises of about 4 to 5 lectures at an hour long each, you'll have the basic understanding of machining, which I don't know if you care about that, but definitely as you grow in engineering, you'll start to realize how important that is. But CNCing is probably the one that'll take the longest, and that's just because it'll be a multi-day process. Everything else you can do within an hour, half hour. While we do an activity, if you guys have more questions, feel free to type them in there, and I'll take care of that. But I'm gonna give the reins over to Shelby to kind of start the activity. So while we set up, answer Justin's question, how does the injection molder work? Um, that is a good question. Give me 1 second, and I'm in the studio right now, so I'll just go grab one part for you guys.
Basically, this is just a small activity with popsicle sticks and string and marbles to create a Newton's cradle, which Bemnon has one that we made, but it's like the marble thing. Yeah. Beautiful. So we have instructions to make that, and that's what we were planning to do as the activity. So there was a list of materials. I don't know if you have them, but it was some popsicle sticks and string and marbles, hot glue, and I think that's it. So if you guys are good with it, I'll start making it. If you want to make it along with me, if you don't have it, that's totally fine. Please drop any questions you have about the inVenT Studio, Galapagos, Seed, tech in general, college in general. We are here to answer all of your questions and make this as helpful as possible. So if you want to ask what the best place to get food on campus is, like, feel free. Definitely ask inVenT Studio questions, because that's what this event is for. But if you have general questions as well, feel free.
Can I jump in real quick?
Of course.
So to answer Justin's question, the injection molder we have is not it's a desktop model, right? So you won't be able to do if you go on YouTube and watch injection molding manufacturing, we can't do anything remotely close to what they can do, solely because we have a desktop. So how ours works is just like any other. You need a mold, right? A cavity of parts. So here we have a part that's designed in CAD, just like any other. Then you put it in a mold and kind of just remove the material. So you have your two halves, you put them together. And this is an example of a mold that we have in studio. Um, you put them together. Then under the injection molder, you basically have to clamp this down, just so it doesn't separate when you insert the liquid. You clamp it on the sides like that. Put it on under the injection molder, press down, and it basically will melt plastic pellets into a liquid form, right? And then you push it down into this or where's my camera? You push it down into the cavity with enough pressure and enough heat. Let it cool, and when you open it up, you should have a part ready to go. I wish I had a part. Some of the other students have used this in the past. As you can see, there's still some leftover plastic that kind of dried on top. They've taken the parts home, so I don't have any physical part to show, but this is the mold. You put them together. You CNC it on the CNC machine I presented on earlier. Put them together and just put some plastic through it, and within a matter of seconds, really, because it doesn't take too long for it to cool, you'll have a part. So that's just one of the capabilities we have in studio. Hopefully that answered your question, Justin. Christine, if you live in Galapagos and have a project with a non-Galapagos team members, can you use the Invent Studio? Yes. Uh, as long as there is a Galapagos member, you can bring in, even if it's not even if it's not projects related to school or classes, if you have personal projects that you want to do with non-Galapagos members, they can come do work in there with you. The thing is, though, you have to accompany them. So if you can't just let them into the building, swipe them in, and say go have fun. If you want to do that, you got to sit there and watch them do their entire project. This is kind of the way we run the studio, is holding each other accountable. Just the same way grad students hold you accountable, we expect you to hold one, your community members accountable, and then everyone you bring into the community accountable. So as long as you have the time and you can sit there and kind of work with them, then yeah, you can work in there with non-Galapagos team members.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so great to live in Hoge, is that you have access to that and you don't have to go and sit with someone else. Like Bemnit was saying earlier, there's the Frith Lab, which is for all freshman engineers, but this is definitely a smaller space, so definitely a great advantage of living in Hoge. I'm going to start building this. If anyone is building along with me, go for it. There should be sheets. Did anyone see sheets that they printed out? Basically, I'm just going to lightly glue 2 popsicle sticks to these lines just to like hold it down. Okay, so now that these are glued down on this page, oh, it came off. It's okay, I'll re-glue it. There's lines for string, so I'm going to cut 5 pieces of string to be a little longer than this length, and then I will continue in a second. So now I'm gluing, like I'm doing dots of glue and strings on each of the lines. So I'm going to do 5 on that side, and then I'm going to pull the string to be kind of tight and then glue it on the other side as well. I'll give a little spiel about my experience with seed. So as a freshman, I lived in Hypatia in Hoge Hall, and I'm very thankful for the experience just living with other engineers. I know some people that sounds scary for, they're like, I don't want to live with all engineers, but it's really nice because you have that shared focus of, okay, I'm gonna have fun, but I'm gonna get my work done and work hard in my classes, which is super nice to have that community and to have people on your hall, in the lounge, that are in calc, in chem, in your foundations of engineering class, was really awesome. And Hoge Hall is at a great location. I don't know if you guys have been here before, but the Prairie Quad is right outside, which has basketball courts and volleyball courts and an outdoor fitness. Super nice there. But yeah, I really enjoyed living in Galapagos. There's also a mentoring aspect with it as well. So for the first 10 weeks of the semester, you'll have a mentor and you'll meet with a mentor group just to help you transition, which I think is super helpful. There's also a seed mentoring program outside of Galapagos that I'm actually a mentor for now. That's just called seed mentoring. So you still get that mentoring aspect without living in Galapatia. So a lot of people do that as well. I would recommend living in Galapatia. I wouldn't really be here if I didn't. But yeah, the Galapatia class is very helpful. Sometimes the assignments may seem like it's frustrating because it's just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm doing calc and chem and all this other stuff. But it gives you lots of really important professional stuff, I think, that you wouldn't do otherwise. As part of the class, you'll write your resume, you'll set up your LinkedIn, you'll get practice like elevator pitches and stuff. Lots of professional things that I think are super duper 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 important that you probably wouldn't do unless you were forced to do it. So the class is very easy. It's not hard at all if you just do your work, but very important. Okay, I'm gonna cut myself off. So I've glued the strings on here, and now I'm going to glue popsicle sticks on top of those, like this.
And to add to the Galapatia class, I was an instructor for it last semester, um, and it's a lot of tedious work, but it's what you make it. Like Shelby said, a lot of opportunity for you to grow professionally. That you wouldn't honestly. I'm gonna be real with you guys. When you're going through your chemistry, all your freshman classes, you're not gonna have the time or the willpower to kind of just set aside, a chunk of time to do resume building, elevator speech, or elevator pitch practice.
Same
Uh,
thing.
yeah. So the class kind of forces you or puts you in these environments where you have to practice these things. I know in the fall semester we have the big engineering expo where essentially the top Fortune 500 companies come to Virginia Tech to only hire Virginia Tech people. Um, and when that day comes, if you haven't taken the time to do all these small professional building skills, like your resume, elevator pitch, just learning how to talk about your experiences, um, you're gonna get T-boned. You're not gonna be prepared. You'll start talking to a recruiter, and halfway through, you can tell by their facial expression they don't want to talk to you anymore.
Gosh, don't scare them.
No, no, I'm being serious. You have to take. I mean, this is where, as a grad student, um, I guess this is where I'm trying to connect with you guys, honestly. As a grad student that have gone through this process and have tried to help a lot of undergrads through this, there's a lot of people who don't take it seriously until it's too late. And too late is when you're talking to your recruiter and you've now foregone the opportunity for an internship or a co-op. So the Galopatia class puts you in these environments to build these skills. There's a lot of people who are kind of comfortable with this, so it just strengthens them. And then there's a lot of students who aren't comfortable with this, so it puts them in a situation to build on it. Of course, we don't force you guys to do anything. It's more of like, again, what you make of it. If you want to come to these resume seminars, the elevator speech, pitch, um, how to write emails to employers, thank you notes, how to track one big thing we really do is invest in how you track your grades. When you get to Virginia Tech, some faculty do not upgrade, they don't update you on, where you stand in class. So you go the whole semester thinking, yeah, I should be at a B, maybe a C, maybe even an A. And then you turn around and realize, oh, this is not where I thought I was going to be. So we actually have programmed our own grade tracking technique, uh, where you're able, regardless of whatever your faculty member for that class is doing, you will know where you're at academically. Um,
I'm gonna butt in real quick to do the project. So there's circles in the middle. You're gonna put a marble there and glue the string to it. It's really important that the marbles are in a line to make it work. And then I'm also gonna make a comment on the Galopatia grade tracker. Most helpful thing ever. If, like, I don't know, that right there, I think is worth living in Galopatia to get that. So helpful. Sorry, continue.
no, I mean that's pretty much it. Again, we're just here to help you guys, the Galapagos class. And as a student who's gone through it myself, there's times where I hated the class. It was a huge drag. It's a lot of tedious work. And then you get to your expo, you get to these internships, you get to your sophomore year, and you realize, okay, for as annoying as it was, they taught me a lot of things that you wouldn't have gotten if you weren't in the community. So as long as you make the most out of it, the best out of it, the Galapagos class is very meaningful. It's very powerful. Let me say it that way.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, just to expose you of what's happening with the Engineering Expo, that's in September. So that's pretty quick when you come to school as a freshman. And you know, it's fantastic if you have the opportunity to have an internship after your freshman year, but it's not as important then as it will be after your sophomore year or your junior year. So even if you go to the expo and you do terrible, which hopefully with this class you won't, but just going and having that first experience will show you what you need to work on and make it better for the future when you actually need to do well to get an internship those later years versus other people who may not know about the expo as much, don't have their resume prepared, don't have their LinkedIn set up, then it's a bigger wake up call when they actually need an internship and they don't know how to talk to recruiters and they aren't professionally prepared.
And if you, I guess, to plug the modules, if you go to the module, your resume only gets that much stronger. So
And also, I know Bennett mentioned this earlier, but living in Galapatia, there's certain requirements that you have to fulfill. There's professional, academic, and social credits that you need to get, and those will help you develop professionally as well. It's not like a huge, oh my gosh, this is terrible requirement, but just small stuff to help you do well.
seed is all about helping.
Okay, I just finished gluing my marbles, so they're all in a row. I'm gonna let them dry and I'm gonna get working on the frames. If anyone is following along, there are two different sheets for the frames. You're gonna make two of each of them. I'm gonna do the VT one first.
Yeah, so maybe I should have been scrolling down. What Shelby has done so far is basically constructed the image. You see where my mouse is. She's got her two planks with her yarn and her one, two, three, five marbles.
Any questions anyone is dying to ask but hasn't had the opportunity to ask yet? What's your favorite place to eat on campus? Yay. I would have to say Owen's is my favorite. It's very close to Hoge, so very convenient. When I was a freshman, and there's so many different options there. If you do not know, Virginia Tech Dining is #1 college campus dining in the nation. So if that doesn't give you a reason to come to Tech, I don't know what will. But at Owens, there's a smoothie place, there's a sandwich place, there's like a home cooked place that I get a lot, which like I'll have rotisserie chicken and good sides. There's pasta, there's Chinese, there's Mexican, there's burgers, there's like soup and salad. And then there's also one place that like rotates from Mediterranean and Thai and Indian and Korean food. And that's literally one dining hall. There's how many more? 1, 2, 3, 4 others. So I would have to say Owens, lots of options, very yummy. Bennett, what's your favorite place to eat on campus?
This is gonna sound weird. It's not really a dining hall. DX is one of those like I hate to say it this way, but it's a 7-Eleven on campus. But they have amazing wraps. Uh and if especially if you need like a late night study or a midday snack when you're working, my go-to is always DX. So I'm gonna ride and die for that.
I
What
have never gotten anything from DX. That is the one place I have not.
you're missing out. Yeah, I would have to say when you do, if you ever come visit, like, I wouldn't recommend taking your parents and family members to DX, but you're really hungry and if you don't want to wait in the long lines of, the dining halls, DX is definitely a good choice.
DX is like a I'm staying up late studying. It is 2 a.m. Let me go get food place.
Yeah, and they're open the latest. I think they close at 2 a.m. I think so.
Okay, I'm making the tea for the VT. This is what I have so far, but I want to do a little tea, so I'm just gonna use scissors and kind of like make in make a groove in it and then break it off. Um, why did you go
Yeah.
ahead? Go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say this one's a little bit more serious of a question. If you wanna start off or
Sure, I'll go. So as in high school, I did not know where I wanted to go to school for college. I applied to 10 different schools, which is a lot, and a lot of college applications and questions, and lots to keep track in your mind of which schools have what. Virginia Tech kind of hit all the boxes for me. It had the fantastic engineering education. I knew that I wanted to do engineering, so that definitely helped limit down the schools I was looking to for just engineering schools. Also had the school spirit, which is huge. I would say if I had to pick one word to describe tech, I would say community. It really, really feels like a community, and everyone is so fun and so nice. And I don't know if you guys have toured before, but everyone will hold the door for you. That's definitely something I noticed when I toured, and something that still holds true. It's awesome to have that environment where you have such high rigor in academics, but it's collaborative and not cutthroat, and you still can go to a football game and jump in Lane Stadium. And it's just, I don't know. It for me, it hit all the boxes. It's a gorgeous campus if you haven't been, but I'm so happy that I'm at Virginia Tech, and was definitely a good decision for me. And I think most people that you ask will say they are so happy they came to Virginia Tech. That was definitely something I noticed compared to other schools that I was touring, because I had toured lots of schools, but everyone at Tech just seemed happy. And I think that's true.
yes, I mean, I think mine is very similar to Shelby. I didn't apply to 10 schools. I applied to 4. And I knew, like Shelby, I wanted to do engineering. And I'm a Virginia native resident, whatever you want to call it. So one of the mandates from my parents were you got to stay in state just for money reasons. And Virginia Tech, I think, is the best. Not I think. I'm 99% sure is the best engineering school in Virginia. Um, so I applied to, Virginia Tech, of course, along with ODU and GM George Mason. And then I'm sorry, 5 schools. So I took a long shot with Carnegie Mellon. I was like, all right, they're a private school. If you get in, they cover most of the cost anyway. Um, but I ended up choosing Virginia Tech because of that community. Uh, I had a lot of older guys that I grew up with went to Virginia Tech. And knowing that I had the mentors I grew up with, uh, knowing that they would be at the school I wanted to go to gave me certain amount of confidence and reassurance I'll be okay. There'll be people who look out after me. And when I got here, of course, I made my own friends, but when I would go hang out with them, they introduced me to a whole different community. And all their friends were very inviting, very respectful. They're like, hey, come do this, come do that, to the point where people were, even when I wasn't with my friends, their friends would ask me to hang out. Um, and that I saw that when I came to visit. And I came, Shelby's right, it's very happy, but if you come on a good day, I came on a very sunny spring day to visit the school after I was accepted. And everyone looked like we came on a Thursday in the middle of the week. People had classes, exams, tests, different things they had to do, but it seemed like a genuinely happy place. Everyone was holding the door. The older guys that I knew that I grew up with came and gave me and my family a tour. And as we walked around, everyone was holding the doors. People were coming up to us like, "Hey, are you interested at Virginia? Are you interested in coming to Virginia Tech?" Um, and it was just a lot of. I really felt that community when I came to visit, and then when I came actually in the fall, uh, there was no disappointment. So definitely happy I chose Virginia Tech, and again, to kind of echo what she was saying, community was the big reason that I chose.
Okay, I finished the no, I didn't. I lied. I'm almost finished the frames, so I've made two of these, and I'm making the second one of these. If anyone is following along. Hello, I'm just gonna finish it up real quick. So where we left off, you should have two of these and two of these, along with this with your marbles. So I'm going to carefully remove the popsicle sticks from the paper. I'm going to take one of these bases and glue these onto each side of it to be the sides. I'm not sure how much hot glue y'all have used, but I've used a lot. Keep throwing the glue stick in the trash. Okay. I have one of the sides kind of on, so now I'm going to glue the other side on. Beautiful. Now it looks like this. See the VT on each side. So I'm going to take my marbles and I'm going to glue this onto the inside posts. So let me show you what it's going to look like. It's going to look like that. And hopefully, if you did it correctly, they'll be in a line. Mine are kind of in a line. We'll see if it works, but yes. Okay, now that the string is glued on, you're going to glue this top piece on to keep it framed correctly. And there you have it. If you did it correctly, you should have something that looks kind of like this, with these in a line. Hopefully yours are straighter than mine, so when you do it, it'll actually work. Mine are all, see how well it works. It works for a little. Hopefully yours is better. I hope you enjoyed making this project. Feel free to post pictures of your final product on Instagram and tag us in the tag below. And enjoy. Hope you enjoyed. You learned something. Hope you're a little more excited about coming to tech now.
If you have any questions, I think you can find my email also on the official Seed page, along with all the other grad students and all the Seed employees. So if you had any other questions concerning Seed in general, because Seed Galapatia is just one aspect of the Seed office. So if you have more questions, we do a lot more than just diversity. We do a lot of tutoring. A lot of mentoring, a lot of outreach. So our main focus is to help the students in any way we can. So if you have any questions regarding the seed office and the different programs we have to offer outside of Galapatia, feel free to email me or anyone. I think I can say this. Anyone you find on that contact list for the seed office, our main job is to kind of work with you guys and make sure you're aware of everything we do and have. So feel free to reach out to any one of us. But I think that's it. Thank you for coming. I hope hopefully you learned something new, took something out of this. And yeah, we'll see you in the fall.